staying in the region, let's quickly just talk about Copa Sudamericana because the finals have been set there. For anybody who might not know, that Copa Sudamericana is basically the Europa League of South America. And I was looking up just some facts about it. Tournament is only 21 years old. Yeah. It's a young tournament. It is just now old enough to drink this tournament. 21 years old. And there was a point between 2004 and 2008 where CONCACAF teams were invited to participate in this tournament.
Damn.
And it's crazy because basically every year that they were allowed to compete, there was one CONCACAF team that did something notable. Pumas lost to Boca Juniors in the final in 2005 in penalties. So that's really, really close.
Damn it,
yeah,
Pumas.
Boca won it. And then in 2006, the first and only time that a CONCACAF team has successfully lifted a trophy in South America, Pachuca won the 2006 Copa Sudamericana against Chilean side Colo-Colo. A crazy, crazy victory that has gone down in Pachuca's history. They'll always have that, which is just nuts.
That's crazy.
2007, America went all the way to the final and lost. So not bad, honestly. Not bad for a 3-4 year stint. But since then, Mexican clubs have not been invited, nor have MLS sides. And just a really quick side take, man. Watching these games, watching Sudamericana, watching Libertadores, I can't help but feel that it's begging at this point to get that inclusion of Mexican and U.S. teams back into the tournament, man. Let's do it full throttle. Let's get 3 teams from each league involved. Throw them into the fucking tournament. I want to see how Nashville does. I want to see how Cincinnati does. Inter Miami does against these Argentine, Peruvian, Chilean, Brazilian sides. I'm ready for it, man. I've waited long enough. Please, will we ever truly get that?
Dude, I was kind of thinking about that too, and it's weird. I have like a reverse take on this. I can't even believe at one point it was like that. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I can't believe that Liga MX teams would go down to South America midweek for a group stage match in Bolivia or Brazil and play a competitive match. And then the reverse as well. I can't believe, man, that like Ecuador and Argentine teams would go to Mexico to play a Copa Libertadores match. Like a competitive CONMEBOL competition was played in Mexico. Like, that's so cool, but I can't believe it ever happened.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's just the logistics of it, man. Like, the more that Liga MX and MLS like play with each other as far as like creating new competitions, I just think the less they'll be looking down south to try and get into the Copa Libertadores, man, because I mean, I just think that both MLS and Liga MX schedules are already like pretty damn booked. The CONCACAF Champions League is kind of revamped over the last couple of years. So I just feel like there's a lot more focus within CONCACAF. But if there is a way to do it, then I'm all for it. I just don't see logistically how you get these teams to like willingly go down to South America and also just the reverse too. Like, I just don't see it. But dude, it'd be fucking dope if we could.
It'd be awesome. It would be great if the Americas just united and we just created one whole entity and we just competed within that, man. But like you said, the logistics are crazy and the times we're in now are much different than the past. I remember the Champions League just wasn't that rampant in the 2000s for CONCACAF. It wasn't really fully fleshed out. Yeah. And so there was an open slot almost for Copa Libertadores to come in and fulfill. Nowadays, there's just so much soccer to be played. And now with the Leagues Cup as well, I think it's why ultimately CONMEBOL and CONCACAF decided on that partnership of having Copa Lib champions face off against Leagues Cup champions or
something
CONCACAF
like
Champions
that.
League champions. We'll have a top 4 teams of both federations competing against each other, but we won't have a fully fleshed out tournament or Mexican teams actually make an appearance in these tournaments. But regardless, in La Copa Sudamericana, all I want to highlight is the fact that now we have Fortaleza, Brazilian side, facing off against LDU Quito, a team from Ecuador, trying to defend the trophy low-key for Ecuadorians all around the world because last year, Independiente del Valle won the tournament.
Yeah, they were fantastic last year.
Fantastic team. Worth noting that in this Quito side, you have one of your favorite players of all time, Paulo Guerrero, still playing to an elite level, a level above the competition. When you see him on the field, when you see the confidence he has, how he plays in general, he's just a step above. And you can tell that all that's holding him back is truly his physical state. Yeah. If he was still that young Paulo Guerrero that led Corinthians to a FIFA Club World Cup over Chelsea, this player would be still in fucking Europe scoring banger goals. But instead, you have him here in La Copa Sudamericana scoring a brace in a 3-0 victory against Defensa y Justicia, ultimately guiding them to a finals appearance in La Copa Sudamericana.
Yeah, it's so cool that he is kind of finishing his career in Ecuador, because every year there's always at least one really good Ecuadorian team that does something, whether in the Sudamericana or maybe they make a decent run in the Libertadores. But when you watch Ecuadorian football, there's such an emphasis on offense. And even with the midfield too, moving the ball forward as quickly as you can, dribble penetration, but also like trying to get creative with like really nice through balls, really nice passing and interchange. You add in a guy like Paolo Guerrero, he fits in perfectly, man, because he completely understands offenses at the highest level. So there's no problem to fit in with, really young Ecuadorians or Argentines that are on that team. They play a really silky style of football. He's going to fit in just perfectly too, because I've always said it, back to goal, Paolo Guerrero is one of the best. Again, you may not have the legs anymore, but dude, his link-up play, his build-up, he knows exactly where his teammates are or will be, and he knows exactly how to just craft a really good offensive play. So for Guerrero, man, I'm really happy to see him still like at an elite level. In this case, the Copa Sudamericana final. It's just so dope.
It's dope, man. It's dope. And for LDU Quito, if they win the Copa Sudamericana, it'll be their second in their history. They last won it in 2009, but this would be still the biggest trophy for this club. They've never won Copa Libertadores. Yeah. This would be a massive achievement. And on the other side, Fortaleza, Brazilian side, if they go on to win Copa Sudamericana, it'll be by far the biggest trophy in their history. They've never come close to reaching a final like this in either tournament. This is an incredible moment, an incredible opportunity that Fortaleza has, and you could see it in the fans, bro. You could see it in the fans for that semifinal matchup, winning their second leg game at home to then push them to this final. Fortaleza fans are fully aware that there is something special available for us if we want it. And bro, if fan bases could just guide their team to victory, this team would be 100% deserving of it, because insane atmosphere as well as gameplay that ultimately guided them towards defeating Corinthians in that semifinal.
Dude, when Tinga scored that second goal in that second leg in Fortaleza, I got chills based off of every single person's reaction in that stadium. The coach, the players all like surrounded Tinga, slapping him on the head. Goal, goal, goal. But dude, the fans, nuts. Yeah. I haven't seen an atmosphere like that in a while. Dude, it was so loud. Everyone started singing, dancing. Fortaleza was alive in that stadium, man. You're 100% right, bro. Like if you have a fan base like that, then you can do a lot. And it's actually for that reason why I'm going for them in the final.
Really?
Yeah.
You think they'll show up in Maldonado in Uruguay?
I actually do think so. Okay. They're a solid team, but I think Liga de Quito is going to also give them a run for their money. I think it's going to be open, but personally, I'm actually going to go for Fortaleza because, when you look at the team that they are in Brazil, they're really not a big team. So for them to win, silverware, it's unheard of at this point. So I would love to see Fortaleza actually pull it off.
It's crazy when you look at the teams that are vying for titles from Brazil. Botafogo in the league, Fortaleza Sudamericana, and then Fluminense.
Wow, yeah, there you go.
Like I said, the top teams just aren't showing up this year. Instead, you have these feisty Brazilian sides trying to do something special. We might see it.
But that's also why I think a lot of people may have really disagreed with your no Brazilian team is going to win the whole thing take. Because even when the top teams in Brazil aren't doing well, you still have Brazilian teams in the final of both tournaments.
That's true.
And so the quality of Brazil is so much higher than any other league in South America that, even these lesser teams are still not dominating, but they're still beating out any other team that comes their way.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's just phenomenal to see. But also to go back to that Fortaleza atmosphere, man.
Well, let me respond to that.
You want to respond?
Respond to that because if you remember my take, I said that I don't see any side that's not Brazilian lifting la Sudamericana. I said only for the Libertadores, I see a non-Brazilian side. So Boca still has that chance. If Boca wins and Fortaleza wins, my take is still accurate.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is just the mid-tier Brazil is still top tier in any other country.
Dude, it's why I was so surprised when I look at just what teams qualify in the league. I think it's like their top 9 teams out of 20 get qualification into Copa Libertadores and Sudamericana. Yeah. That's insane, bro. Can you imagine that in a European context? All going to the Champions League and Europa League?
Yeah.
That's how dominant they truly are, and that's how big the gap is. I'm not denying that whatsoever. Yeah. I just think when it comes to that championship grit, I don't think they have it this year. We'll see if I'm right.
Okay, yeah, no, yeah. That's actually fair. The championship grit, that's actually really, really fair. But, dude, like, one thing that really stood out to me watching the Sudamericana and Libertadores semifinals is these home atmospheres in Brazil in general, bro, are ridiculous.
That's stupid.
It's ridiculous.
It's fucking crazy.
Like, even though Palmeiras got screwed today, and rightfully so, dude, what a stadium. Mm-hmm. What a packed house. It's beautiful pitch, beautiful stadium, just the architecture of it all. It's huge. And, dude, not a single seat was open. Yeah. Not a single one. It was the same thing when Fluminense hosted Internacional. It was the same thing when Internacional hosted Fluminense, bro. Like, I'm kind of jealous. Like, holy shit. But not only that, like, how it looks, too, it's very close to being, like, European almost. Like, just the way it looks, it's, like, super nice. The pitches look completely pristine. Like, these Brazilians are putting on some really cool shows from just a footballing perspective, and it's honestly really beautiful to see, and I haven't really caught on to it like that.
I love how reliable they are, man. It's like no matter the context of the tournament or competition, they're going to show out, and that's what I think does differentiate them from, an MLS side or Liga MX side, is that the fans are very subjective towards what the game actually means. Chivas fans, bro, they won't show up unless it's a semifinal appearance at the Akron. That's when you'll see a full jam-packed stadium. But Brazil has even bigger stadiums with bigger capacities being filled to the brim. Absolute cauldrons with not a single empty seat in sight. And then on top of that, just incredible chants, incredible atmospheres. The game today was delayed between Palmeiras and Boca Juniors because there was smoke on the field. It's just crazy to think about the scenes that these Brazilian clubs and fans are able to create week in, week out, bro. Yeah. And so ultimately, when it comes down to this final between Fortaleza and Quito, I really want to go Quito on this one, right? I want to, because seeing Paulo Guerrero just play his absolute heart out is a beautiful thing to see. But when I look at the people around him, that's where I get a little skeptical. There's an ex-Liga MX player, I believe, Ibarra. Renato Ibarra, who, man, I find to be so wasteful, man. Mm-hmm. So wasteful. There was a play in the second leg where Paulo laid him off a beautiful pass. He's one-on-one with the keeper, and he doesn't even put it on goal, man. It's off to the right. And I'm just thinking, bro, if the opposite had happened, Paulo is finishing that shot 10 times out of 10, and that's a goal. I think that the surrounding pieces behind the offensive input that Paulo Guerrero has will come to play against Quito in this final. Whereas for Fortaleza, I just saw more of a team, man. I saw more of a team unity with guys like Pikachu, Pochettino in this squad. I think what they have to offer as a whole is going to be enough to defeat this Quito side. And we're going to see a Brazilian team lift La Sudamericana.